energized GOP, Biden will deliver the State of the Union address. In addition to outlining his accomplishments and vision, President Joe Biden's second State of the Union address comes at a critical time as he presents his case for leadership ahead of an anticipated declaration regarding whether he would seek re-election. Republicans now control the House of Representatives, however, and are eager to thwart his aims. This has already prompted a contentious debate over budget cuts that could lead to the country's debt default, in contrast to his first 2 years in office. Even many Democrats have their reservations about whether the president will win if he decides to run again. The president is 80 years old, making him the oldest president in the history of the country. Promoting bipartisanship despite hostility. He is anticipated to call on Republicans to work with him in his remarks, stressing the progress the American people want us to make by working together in the year ahead, a White House official said. His words were developed over the weekend at Camp David, according to the White House. However, his speech in prime time comes while he is constantly at odds with those same Republicans, particularly over his alleged misuse of secret documents, for which a special counsel is looking into him. When asked why it has not been more open throughout the scandal, the White House has dodged the issue. Republicans on Capitol Hill have also attacked the president's handling of the alleged Chinese spy balloon that was shot down by American forces Saturday off the coast of the Atlantic. Many GOP lawmakers have argued the administration should have destroyed it before it crossed the nation. In contrast to last year, when Biden spoke for about a fifth of the State of the Union address, this year's address is likely to be more focused on his legislative successes and how the federal government is investing in America, as he has emphasized recently. Despite saying in his speech last year that the U.S. had reached a new moment in the fight against COVID-19, Biden has become less and less vocal about the coronavirus outbreak in recent months as people, and the economy, have mostly moved on. The president will underscore the progress we have already made, and will keep fighting to achieve, on these and other goals and priorities, highlighting in practical terms how transformational his pieces of legislation are for Americans across the country, the White House official said. Just before he might start his re-election campaign, it's a deliberate political maneuver. Given that House Republicans are trying to create obstacles in his path, it seems unlikely that he will achieve the same level of legislative success in the following 2 years of his presidency as he did in the first 2. Americans being convinced they are better off. Biden wants to claim credit and raise his consistently poor approval ratings as the benefits of those laws only recently started to become apparent to Americans. Shovels going into the ground for infrastructure projects, the price of insulin reducing, and taxes falling on renewable technology. He announced on Friday that he would be reporting on the condition of the union the following week as he praised the startlingly high number of jobs generated in January. However, I'm delighted to say that the State of the Union and our economy are robust as of today. But convincing Americans that he has improved their personal fortunes will be a difficult task. 4 out of 10 respondents in a recent ABC News/Washington Post poll stated their financial situation has gotten worse since Joe Biden took office, the highest percentage in the almost 30 polls conducted by ABC/Post since 1986. Only 16% claim to be in a better situation. Nevertheless, Biden benefits from how Americans perceive Republicans. The public sided with Biden in the debt ceiling debate, approving of his strategy of treating debt payments and government spending as separate issues by a margin of 65% to just 26%. Republican Kevin McCarthy, the newly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, has threatened to allow the United States to go into default on its debt if the president does not agree to spending cuts, praising achievements while denying credit to Americans. The president's message and Americans' worries about the future are both heavily reliant on the economy. Biden allies claim that the president has made a number of outstanding accomplishments that are only now starting to be felt by the public. On Tuesday night, Biden may highlight a number of encouraging signs. High inflation is slowing, gas prices have dropped from their peaks last year, and the labor market is still robust. The Inflation Reduction Act, a big health, climate, and tax package, and the CHIPS and Science Act, which made a sizable investment in semiconductor manufacturing, are 2 significant pieces of legislation the president pushed through in the last year that address his domestic goals. According to Biden's chief economic advisor, Brian Deese, the most substantial impact will begin to materialize in 2023 on all three of the big pieces of legislation, on infrastructure, chips and science, and on the Inflation Reduction Act. The Respect for Marriage Act, which formalized federal protections for same-sex and interracial marriages, and the Safer Communities Act, which featured a variety of gun reform measures, are two additional acts that Congress approved in the previous year that Biden has praised. But generally speaking, according to a recent ABC/Post poll, Americans have very diverse perspectives. Only 36% of Americans said they believed Biden had done a great deal or a good bit of work as president, while 62% said he had done little to nothing. Biden also didn't get much credit for a diverse list of issues he might bring up in his speech on Tuesday. While the economy added a healthy 517,000 jobs last month and unemployment has decreased from 6.3% when Biden entered office to 3.4%, which is a low since 1969, the public still believes he has not made success in generating more good jobs in your neighborhood by a 60 to 34% margin. Biden traveled 3 times last week in an effort to dispel that notion, touting the investments made under his infrastructure law in significant train tunnel projects in Baltimore and New York, as well as the replacement of lead pipes in Philadelphia. Additionally, he redoubled his efforts to persuade Congress to pass legislation establishing paid family and medical leave. Republicans in West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, a Democrat, blocked this from happening in 2021. According to Biden, who spoke to reporters on Monday, "I want to talk to the American people and let them know the status of circumstances, what's going on and what I'm looking forward to working on from this point on, what we've done. And just talk to Americans," the speaker continued. While Biden is promoting himself to Republicans, he must also convince Democrats of his merits. Just 31% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents in the ABC/Post poll said their party should choose Biden for re-election, while 58% said it should choose someone else. Will the reform of firearms and policing take a backseat? Meanwhile, it's unclear how much of Biden's address would be devoted to the topics of gun control and policing reform, two areas where Democrats have failed to achieve their aspirational reform goals. Biden is under pressure once more to use his bully pulpit to promote those causes in the wake of recent mass murders in California and Tyre Nichols' violent assault by 5 Memphis police officers. When asked last week how important policing reform would be to Biden, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre declined to comment. The American people may anticipate hearing from Biden about how he is enthusiastic about the future of his nation and the potential that we have as a country, especially as we look at our economy, she said on Thursday, according to ABC News senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce. McCarthy friendship Biden's will test the limits of the partisan push. The White House official stated that Biden is anticipated to reiterate his plea for bipartisanship from last year, emphasizing the progress the American people want us to accomplish by working together in the year ahead. The person predicted that this year the president would again emphasize his confidence that Democrats and Republicans can work together, as they did in the last 2 years and as he is committed to doing with this new Congress to get significant things done on behalf of the American people. McCarthy, a Republican, will have a position of authority on the dais behind the president during his speech on Tuesday, making history. Biden's aim for bipartisanship will be put to the test by how his relationship with McCarthy plays out in the coming months. Republicans have threatened a catastrophic default if the White House does not agree to big, undefined spending cutbacks. The president and the speaker met in the Oval Office last week. Both men described their discussions as excellent thereafter. Ukraine didn't play as much of a role in his address as it did the year before. Biden will, however, outline the progress made on maintaining international alliances to defend Ukraine, compete with China, and assert American leadership in the globe, according to the White House official. The official Republican response to the State of the Union address for this year will be given by Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She'll probably portray a struggling economy that Biden brought into office. Since assuming office last month, Sanders, who was formerly President Donald Trump's press secretary, has made culture war problems a focus of her governorship. In a statement last week, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell praised Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders as the youngest governor in the country and a great advocate for the popular, common-sense conservative ideals that will put our country back on a better course. That's today's latest news. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so that this channel can continue to exist. Thank you for listening to the end and I hope it's useful.